This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
Hello, everyone. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to remind you that my book, Drummers on Drumming, is available now on Amazon as both a paperback and an ebook. Based on the Big Fat Five segment of this podcast, where I sit down with my favorite drummers to discuss the 5 records and stories that shaped their approach to the instrument, this book is packed with insights from the drummers who redefined how we think about the modern drum set. You can grab your copy now by checking the link in this episode's show notes or simply searching Drummers on Drumming on Amazon. So thank you for all the support, and now let's get into the show. What is up? Welcome back to Drummers on Drumming, a podcast powered by Big Fat Snare Drum. You like mouthed it with me. Anyways, I'm here with Chance Famagetti. He is out on the road with me with Nicky, and I'm going to have you tell the audience, Chance, what we talk about in 30 seconds or less.
Ben and I are on tour, and we have an off day in New Haven, Connecticut, and he asked me to be on his podcast, and the guy we're on tour with, I used to be his drummer, and now Ben is his drummer. But I'm here playing piano, and that's why I'm on this podcast.
That's a way better one.
Yeah.
Way more compelling.
Yeah. Technically, you replaced me because the guy so we're both hired musicians for this artist. We're on the road, and the artist we're playing for, I was his drummer for 3 years. He had like kind of a hiatus a little bit, and then he wrote this new album, and the new songs are a little more folky, and they have live instruments, and the singer realized that I'm more of a piano player, so he asked me to play piano instead, and he said he was going to get a whole new band, but he wanted to keep me. His big song is called Sunroof. It was literally a #1 Billboard hit, 2022. Yeah, I mean, I guess the point.
Yeah, exactly. So we met because we're playing together, and a mutual MD friend put us together. But before the current lineup, you were the drummer, and tell the story of how you became the drummer of Nicky. And I guess we'll start there.
Okay, so I have my own artist project called Free Arlo. I've been doing it. It's probably been about 5 years I've been doing it. And like I was a janitor at a hotel, and I had all these like shitty jobs and whatever, and I'm doing my artist project, writing songs, I produce.
I do want to hear some stories from the janitor experience that you've told me.
Well, it's mainly just me cleaning up poop on toilets, but
yeah.
But I did that instead of college, because my dad was like, you either go to college or you get a job. And if I went to college, it'd be on my dime, and all I had was like $800 from birthday money from my whole life. And so it was like, how the hell? And I didn't have the grades at all, because I thought I was going to be a big music star guy. And
sure.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll just get a job, and the only place that hired me was this hotel, and the only job I could get was a janitor. And for some reason, I stayed there for 5 years, and it was just me and then like hundreds of older, Hispanic women who loved me, and I was just like the 19-year-old white boy. But I was literally cleaning shit off toilets. And honestly, in case you're wondering, the women's bathrooms are so much worse than the men's. It's because they squat in public restrooms instead of sitting. And then, anyways, so artist project, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing it, singing songs. I had met Nicky through like one of my best friend, Austin. He's a photographer. He did a photo shoot for Nicky, and he asked me, like, what do you think of this photo? I'm like, oh, that's cool. Who's this guy? And he's like, oh, just some guy who hired me to take his photo. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, this guy has one song out that I actually know, and me and my ex-girlfriend at the time would listen to it. And I followed him, and then he followed me back. And then Nicky posted, and the one song he had out was very small, like nothing. And not nothing, but it was just like,
and worthless, just nothing.
It was worthless. And it wasn't. No, I really liked his song. It was just like one of the songs in my playlist. And then he followed me, and we ended up getting a beer, me and Nicky. It was the first time we met.
Who asked who?
I think he was like, yo, we should hang out sometime. And I'm like, yeah, let's get a beer. And so I drove down to him in Orange County. We got a beer. That was the first time we met, 2021. And he was like a young frat kid. Like he just graduated college. You know, I didn't go to college at all. So like I'm not around college-y type dudes that much. But I was like, yeah, well, whatever. So after that, we had met once. And then he came to my show where I did my Free Arlo solo project in LA. Apparently he had listened to some of my songs in college, which I didn't really know about.
Prior to him following you and all that stuff?
Prior to him following me,
wow.
2 of my songs he listened to in college. Anyways, he comes to my show. I had just gotten in a motorcycle accident and I had a leg brace and an arm cast on stage. So I was very stiff and I felt like that was kind of a whack show for me because I was just like I barely moved. And everyone was like, that was the best show you've ever done. And maybe I was like focusing more on pitch and like singing better. But as far as like visually, I thought that was not good. And when I got off stage, he was like, dude, that was so awesome. Like, I'm going to play my first show. I was wondering if you would come to my rehearsal and give me pointers on stage presence. I literally was like, really? And he's like, yeah, and if you want, you could play an instrument too. And I said, yeah, if you want me to play an instrument, like I'll play like keys for you or something. I basically offered to play piano and he needed a drummer instead. And I wasn't a drummer. I was like a little buzzed and I just said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And he's like, all right. And mind you, the drummer who played in my band that night is a really good drummer. I mean, he went to school for it. He's a jazz drummer. He's excellent. But he wasn't standing there. He like went to go smoke a joint outside. Like he's just to himself. I love that guy. He's just to himself and he just wasn't standing there in the moment when Nicky asked me and I just said, okay. So then the next day I go to my job and I'm talking with my coworkers. I'm like, I told this guy I'd be his drummer. I don't even have a drum set. And there's a show coming up and my friends were like, I don't know if I can say this, but my friends were like, don't be a pussy. Like, just do it. If you say no and then you see some other dumbass guy up there playing the drums, you're going to regret it. And I was like, okay, all right. So I told him, yeah, I'm in. And he's like, all right, the show's in a month. Here's the songs. He only had 4 songs. One of them was a cover, so he really only had 3. I spent exactly a month. So I borrowed my friend's drum kit that was in his garage. It was like this dusty old, I don't even know what it was because I didn't know anything about drums or anything. It was just this dusty, shitty drum set in his garage. And he let me borrow it. And then my mom let me, and I wasn't living at my mom's house, I was living at my dad's house, but my mom let me set it up in her living room. And every day after my normal job, she let me practice Nicky songs for 2 hours every day for a month. And to be honest, I like just learned how to play his songs. I didn't learn how to like play the drums correctly. I just copied what I heard in the song. And I've been producing, so like I understood the structure of the songs and everything. And it was more like, oh, this is what this feels like to make this sound that I've heard a million times.
To piggyback off that, being a producer, how do you feel, like what do you grab onto when you're learning a drum part? Is it the kick pattern? Is it what the hi-hat's doing?
Really the kick pattern, but the kick and snare pattern, if I'm going, okay, hi-hat or ride, for the most part, it's either hi-hat or ride, normally doing 8th notes, usually, for pop, and what I need to learn, what was different for his pop. I mean, he had bubblegum pop songs.
Yes.
So for the most part, the kick snare pattern was doom, ka, doom, ka, doom, ka. Like it was just that. But every once in a while it would change up. So I just had to memorize that when it would change and when the stops were. It was really just about the stops.
Yes, yeah.
That's really all it was about. And so, yeah, I mean, producing helped me a lot because if I heard Nicky's song once, I would know, okay, it's this structure, except this is different here. So I would say producing music and making programmed drums for honestly 10 years before this. Like 10 years before I was learning how to play drums for Nicky, I'd been producing drums and Logic. So that actually did help me a lot with that. It was just translating, okay, this is what I have to do with my body to create that sound live. And first it was like, why does this not sound like the samples I've used? So then I'm like, oh, maybe if I hit it like this. It's just me trying to figure shit out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we played his first show at Winston House in Venice Beach, which is now closed. And place was packed. He also let me open for him as Free Arlo, I did one acoustic song with the guitar player. And it was really uncomfortable because like there was like an announcer and he announced Nicky and he hyped everyone up and he got the crowd going, Nicky, Nicky. And then I said, well, I'm not Nicky, but he's going to let me sing one song for you guys. And then I sang a very acoustic, like kind of sad song. And then I walked over the drums. So I did that, and I am grateful it was cool that he let me do that. But we played the set, and I mean, I'll be honest, I was rough. I was hitting the hi-hat with my entire shoulder. Like I was just chopping at it. My best friend Austin was there, and I'm like, dude, how was it? And he's like, well, you're clearly not a drummer, and he's not at all, but he's like, you're clearly not a drummer, but it was passable. And I was like, that's how I felt. I felt like, you know what? He asked me to do this, and I did it. And then after the show, we're drinking, and we're at another bar, and I actually walked up to him, and I was like, hey, dude, like, that was so fun. He had Venmo'd me $100, and I was like, I've never been paid to play an instrument before. That was my first time I've ever gotten paid. And I was like, wow, I just got $100 for that? That's so sick. And I was like, hey, dude, that was so fun, but you should probably hire a better drummer. I didn't tell him I wasn't a drummer, but I was just like, you should probably hire a guy. Like, I have a better one than me, you know?
Well, and at that point, was he starting to, maybe there was buzz like Sunroof could do something?
Maybe, but it hadn't popped off yet. And so I'm like, yeah, you should hire a better drummer. And he's like, no, you're my boy. Like, you're like one of my only friends in LA. Like, I want to keep you around. I'm like, okay, sounds good. And then Sunroof just goes number one.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing I'm doing is the iHeartRadio Jingle Ball tour.
Do you remember texting Nicky? Because I haven't really talked to him about this, but the week it happened, or was it just like, dude, look at this. Holy shit, look at this.
I think it was like his song blew up because of TikTok.
Yeah.
And I remember the moment when like the NFL used it for an NFL TikTok, and then Addison Rae, who's a big TikToker, used it in a video. And people just started using the song in the background of their videos, which is UGC, user generated content. And that just really drove it. And the song came out in November 2021, and we didn't have this show until 2022 March. So it was just a song. But then after he was like, no, I want you to be my drummer. Again, he doesn't know I just learned to play for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the song literally, it goes so big, and suddenly like I'm find myself in these arenas. So the iHeartRadio Jingle Ball tour, their arena tours, it was like 13 states. You know, like in Philly, it was the Wells Fargo. In LA, it was the Forum. I mean, I don't know. Have you done those before?
Cannons did the K-Rock Almost Acoustic Christmas, but that's just at the Forum.
Okay.
It's not like a touring thing.
Okay. Well, for the iHeartRadio Jingle Ball thing, there's just a big hallway for the drummers and then a hallway for the guitarist. So in the drummer's hallway, it's all the risers, because everything needs to be on a riser. And I'm like on my riser, and Nicky's manager had asked me what I want for backline. And I didn't know, I don't know a thing about drums. The manager goes, what kind of drum set do you want? And I don't know. I literally said, I want a red one. So all the drums come in a box, and it's just this cheap Yamaha drum set that's red. And I'm like, cool. But it's the most simple setup, the most simple setup you could possibly have. And it's all in a box, and I have to assemble it every night. But I'm on my riser next to Pitbull's drummer, and then on my other side was the Kid Leroy's drummer. And at the time, that was Tosh Peterson, who I'm now homies with. But both of those two guys had, like, to me, looked like so many things on their drum set. Like, extra, like, pads and percussive stuff. And all I had was, like, one rack tom, one floor tom, one cymbal, one hi-hat, kick, and snare. That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the drum set, and I have no idea how to assemble it, because I've never put one together before. And what really got me was the layering order of the clutch on the hi-hat. Like, I had no idea. I'm assuming these two pads go around the cymbal, but I don't understand this little metal thing. Like, I just didn't get it at all. And I was staring at it, and Tosh goes, hey, man, do you need any help? And I was, like, so deep in the facade that I had to be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Me? Yeah. How funny, man.
Me? Yeah, come on. Do you need help? And And so so then I went to the bathroom and I watched a YouTube video on how to assemble a hi-hat clutch. And then I came back and I was like, I got this. And I confidently put the whole thing together. And I was like, yeah, watch me. So we do we're playing. I mean, we're playing massive rooms, like literally arenas, to where it looks like you're playing into outer space. Because it's just black with blue dot lights, because everyone had like light up reindeer hats because it was Christmas. And my eyes are really bad, so it was just kind of like, looked like I was playing into space.
Yeah.
It was so imposter syndrome that I was like, I don't know what character I'm playing right now, but I have to own this. I have to be this person I said I was.
Because it's not even like you are a drummer, but you feel that you're not a good enough drummer, and you're like literally not a drummer.
No, in this moment, it was, I'm telling you, we did that show at Winston House, and then now here I am on a really large scale. So I'm like, well, it's no time to tell the truth now, so I just got to keep it going. And it was funny, there was one show, because we had a playback guy, and there was one show.
Did he know?
No, only the guitarist knew, because he was my old guitarist.
Okay.
But we had a playback guy, and there was one night in Detroit, I was sick, and I was like, all right, tonight I'm going to wear shades on stage, I'm just going to wear a black t-shirt, and I'm just going to like take it easy on myself tonight. I'm not going to do anything crazy.
Yeah.
And then that was the night where the playback glitched or something, and we couldn't get the click working. And the people at Jingle Ball were like, you got to play now. It's very timed. It's very like, now you play.
Yeah.
And if you're late, you're going to get cut off.
Yeah.
So he's like, we got to start. The playback guy's like, we got to start. And we're like, wait, no, I need click. You're going to have to do it without it. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? The playback is 85% of the sound in this band setup. And so the thing starts, and it's, of course, this out-of-time synth. And I'm trying to just remember, like, at what notes in the synth that the drums start coming in.
Oh, my God.
And thankfully, like, some of the songs had, like, claps and snaps in them. So I was able to kind of play off of those. But there was a few sections where there's just nothing, and I'm supposed to, like, come in on. We're all supposed to come. Well, me and the guitar player are supposed to come in together, and there was no way for me to know. So I was just off of like feel. I was trying to just be a metronome, and I was clicking my sticks really loud so everyone can hear me. But then there's this delay because we're in an arena. Somehow I pulled us through, and I was like just trying to keep us in time. And we got off stage, and Nicky had no idea. We get off stage and Nicky's like, why did that feel so weird? And I'm like, dude, we had no click. I just played that whole show without any click, trying to play with our playback. Because I could hear the playback, but there was no grid. And I was sick. And he just had no idea. And I was like, that's insane that happened. So we did that. And that was a moment where that was probably the first or second time I was proud of myself drumming. Because I was like, wow, I actually held us together. When I'm over here, acting as pretending. I felt like I was pretending to be some drummer, and I also had like, I'm doing these shows, these big shows. A lot of my friends are drummers, like the guys who have played for me. And I actually had guilt. Like I felt really bad because a lot of my friends who are drummers, they play for smaller bands the size of me. And then here I am doing this. They know I'm not a drummer. And so I had a lot of like, I feel really bad for taking this job. But that also being said, I just seized an opportunity.
I mean, that's the perspective. The second one is the perspective. I mean, you and me both know Nicky, and I know that he felt more comfortable with you being there. That's why you're still in this band. So it's like it's proving yet again why the personal side and working on yourself will actually keep you the gig. It's really not about how good you are at your instrument.
I would say it's majority. I mean, if you think about when I was saying how he came up to me and was like, you want to play drums? Like, it was more vibe, obviously, than skill, because he had never heard me play the drums before, and he gave me the job just because he liked me. And also, when you're touring with someone, most we're on stage for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, we're living together like we're roommates. So if you're a weird vibe, even if you're the best drummer ever, but you suck to be around, you're probably not gonna go on the road. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. How many gigs require the best drummer ever?
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Nature's Bounty. Nature's Bounty believes your body is brilliant, naturally designed to thrive, inside and out. For those always looking for new ways to support your health from head to heels, Nature's Bounty has a range of over 400 vitamins and supplements born from 50 years of trust and care. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Visit naturesbounty.com to learn more.
It was crazy. So yeah, that happened. We got back, and I had all this work, and I'm like working at the hotel. I'm still working at the hotel, and I'm still living at my parents' house. Mm-hmm. And then I got to get this day off, and then I go do, like, we did Good Morning America, which was a mess. But
I will say I can relate to that stuff too, where when I first started playing with Eve 6, I'd play a festival where everyone's singing along, and then the next day I wake up and I got to go back to my serving job. It's a very interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of us relate to that. It's like honestly the shittiest feeling, but I learned how to go back to my job and go, like, when something sucks, like say you go back to your job and you have a bad day, like, I don't know, your coworker's being a dick again, or you're slammed. It's a stressful day. I learned to be able to take what I was just at and bring it into my brain, so that I'm like, I'm still on a high. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I'm here right now, but I'm reminding myself, like, I am better than this because I just did something so cool and no one here knows it, and I get to know that. So, like, it had helped me get through that. Anyways, did that, whatever. And then Nicky goes, hey, I got a tour coming up. It's a month long, and we're opening for Benson Boone. And I was like, well, I got to do that. I make more playing for you than I do at this hotel, but I can't, they're not going to give me a month off. Oh. So I was like, I think I should quit. And honestly, I'm making more now than I ever have. I think I was 26 at the time. I'm like, I think I should move out of my parents' house. Because I went on a date with this girl, and she was my age, but she had her own apartment. And she was like, where do you live? And I was like, oh, I still live with my parents. And she gave me this look that made me feel so shitty. I was like, oh my God, you're right. I literally agreed with her. I was like, it's time. I need to just get my own place now, because what am I doing? And Nicky goes, yeah, we're going to go. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to quit my job. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to get an apartment in LA. And so right before the Benson tour, I quit my job, and I got an apartment in LA. I put all my stuff unpacked in the apartment, and then we left for tour. And yeah, and then we went for a month, and that was literally the time of my life. I'd never been on a tour bus before. It was so fun, and I'm playing drums, and I'm running playback, and I got to talk back, and the talk back was fun because I would feed Nicky his lyrics because he always forgets them. So I used to just tell him, all right, this is the part where we stop. This is the part where you tell the story about this. This is the part where you do this. You look good, because he'd get in his head a lot, so I would be like,
yeah,
hey, they're having fun. If they're not having fun, just jam with us, because it's important that he's like the leader. He needs to be driving this boat. So if he's feeling weird, I would just be his little voice in his ear, and I would say some stupid shit to him. Your ass looks good tonight. Yeah. Come on, shake it, boy. Like, I would just say some dumb stuff to him. And then
why don't we do that anymore?
Because we don't have talkbacks. Now we have live mics because we're all singing harmonies.
We should do that into the microphones live. Like, Nicky, I think you're doing a really good job. That last verse was really strong.
We should do that tomorrow. When I got back from the Benson tour, I got into my apartment, and I was sitting there in my apartment, and then I was like, whoa, I have my own place now. I can afford it. I don't work at the hotel. And I was at that hotel for 7 years. I literally cleaned toilets. I was also I was a pool boy for a little bit. I quit that job because I didn't go to college. I just graduated high school, and then trying to do my music thing, my own artist project, and worked at the hotel for 7 years. And then there I was sitting in my own apartment, and I was like, I cannot believe I'm here right now. And this is all just because I said yes to Nicky. Because I said, yeah, I'll do that. And then I put in a shit ton of work to learn how to do it. But literally because I was standing there after my show, I was able to move out of my parents' house and have my own place and feel like an actual adult and not be depressed. And I felt like I had my shit together, and I was like, that's crazy. And I just feel like that's a testament to saying yes to opportunities.
Yeah.
And just being like, just saying yes to things. And if you think you can do it, if he asked me to play the trumpet, I wouldn't have said yes. But I felt like I could probably do it. And it took me crazy, way more places than I thought. You know, we did all kinds of cool stuff. I played so many shows on the drums. And now I have my own drum set, which I still didn't pay for. It was like my aunt's. My aunt had one in her house. And I've never...
Well, technically, you still haven't paid for your keyboard.
That's true, yeah. Everything I own is not mine. No, but I feel like I'm so lucky. Like, I just, like, exist and then good things happen, you know? But I feel like if you put good things out, yeah, the universe has been pretty good. I mean, sometimes the universe is...
Well, fucking asshole.
Yeah. But then, you know, you're like, oh, then it works out. And you're like, oh, maybe that was for a reason or something. Anyways.
Well, no, I mean, we can go down this rabbit hole. I really have gotten better in the last few years of being like, when something shitty happens, I try, even if I don't believe it, I'll try and think of a reason why this could be the best thing that's ever happened to me. And it does fucking help.
Well, so I'm not at all religious. I wasn't raised religious. I actually, the first time I went to church was with some Hinge girl a couple months ago because she was really hot and she's like, will you go to church with me? I'm like, hell yeah, I've never been. And
will you go to church with me? Hell yeah.
I was like, so I went, yeah. I went and it was crazy. The budget that they have.
Oh, it was one of those mega churches.
Yeah, dude. It was like they were live streaming it, but they had like 3 camera guys with big old TV cameras, and they had the most quality. Now I know about instruments and drum stuff now. So I'm like, that is an expensive drum set. That's the most expensive keyboard. And they had ears, and they had an inner monitor guy, and then they had screens, projectors, as if I'm not 10 feet away from them, but they had like big monitor screens and a projection wall with the lyrics, and I'm like, this is crazy. The point I was trying to make was I'm not a religious guy. The closest thing I am to that is that I do believe that everything happens for a reason, which I do feel like is a little similar a way to religion. And when something bad happens, I feel like, well, there must be a positive reason for this. This must turn into something else. And
well,
then
the yin and yang thing, for sure.
Yeah, and usually it does. Usually something positive. And well, this only happened because of that. Oh, that's cool, you know? It also lightens things when things get really sad. If you think, well, there must be a reason for this.
Mm-hmm.
It helps, you know, morale.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the closest thing I have to religion, but I don't know if I feel like there's some man in the sky with long hair, but I do feel some sort of universal presence, you know?
There's an energy, for sure.
An energy. Anyways, back to drumming.
Yeah.
So through playing for Nicky, I mainly, because I didn't own a drum set, 90% of the drumming I did for Nicky was all backline kits. So I actually got a taste of every kind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started out going, oh yeah, red drum set. Okay, this time I want a green drum set. Okay, this time I want bigger cymbals. Oh, this time I want to try a double kick pedal. Oh, never mind, I can't actually play a double kick pedal. Oh, this time I want 3 crashes. Okay, never mind, I don't need 3 crashes. Wait, I liked that one brand, and I was calling it Pasty, and I'm pretty sure it's Paisty.
It's Paisty, yeah.
Well, I had the Paisty 2000s.
The 2002s?
2002s,
yeah.
Yes. With the red.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were thick, and they just sounded horrible to me in someone's story. And I was like, yeah, never mind, I don't want those. On the Benson tour, I met Eric.
Yes.
Eric was Benson's drummer. You know, we didn't really talk that much on the tour. He kind of kept to himself. He hung out with Chris, the keyboard player for Benson. And he had the biggest cymbals I've ever seen at the time. And they were so thin, and I watched him play, and I was like, how is he hitting that hard? He's like a gorilla. I was like, how is he doing that? I mean, he's a buff dude, but like, how is he doing that? And when he'd hit the cymbals, they would just wave. And I was like, is he going to break the cymbals right now? But no, he's not.
Yeah.
And the cymbals I had on that tour were the Sabian B8s, which you know about. The ones I got for free. 14-inch crash that was like so thick. They sounded so bad. I still have them now. If anyone wants to buy them off me,
yeah, dude,
for their son.
So what? I mean, because Eric's a great drummer. We can all agree. We can both agree with that.
No.
Did you say no?
No, I said yeah.
Oh, I said no.
Imagine he'd like that if I said no.
Yeah. What was his first? Because I guarantee he saw you side stage. Did he ever say anything to you like, "Hey man, so what's this all about?"
No, he he was trying to be nice. So he never said anything about my drumming. And then I had told him the story I just told you about how, like, I'm not really a drummer. I'm just doing this for Nicky, like, and basically to pay my rent. And he goes, wait, really? And he was actually impressed because I know for a fact he didn't think I was a great drummer. But when I told him what the truth was, he was like, oh, you're actually better than you should be for that. And I will say I did pick up on it pretty easily. And I think it has to do with playing piano since I was 4 and then producing drums. Producing, you know, I'm working with a click all the time. And I know how, you know, it should sound and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, we were just kind of like, it was cool. And then after that Benson tour, Nicky hired Eric to be Nicky's music director. And that's when Eric was like, all right, he basically took me to school.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
He's like, you're going to use my lockout for free, but you're going to use my lockout and you're going to use my drum set in there and you're going to practice. And I'm going to give you this to work on and I'm going to give you this to work on. And I was like, I'm game. Like, whatever you want to do. Like, because I was like, Eric is so good. And if I'm going to keep this, originally what was a facade, now it's my job, my, like, main source of income. Like, I'm whatever you want me to do. So he had me try weird things, like, he's like, play the whole set, but reverse your hands. So everything you would do with your left hand, do it with your right, and vice versa.
Really?
Yeah, just as an exercise. That just fucked me up. Like I barely could do it, and that was his point. He wanted my left hand to get stronger. And so he was like, reverse everything. And then the other thing was, he's like, I want you to hit your cymbals half as hard, and I want you to hit all the drums like 3 times as hard as you're hitting them right now. You know, this is pop, high energy pop. Every single snare hit is a rim shot. And it needs to be a perfectly clean rim shot that sounds identical every single time. What I learned from him was, I'm like, dude, I'm not that strong. Like, I'm a skinny guy. I don't work out. Like, I can't hit as hard as you. And he's like, it's not about how strong you are. It's about sending the energy down your arm and whipping it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Because this whole time I'm just throwing my body weight into the snare. And he's like, it's not about that. And then I remembered Tosh, and I'm like, well, he's a skinny dude. He hits like crazy. So he was teaching me about technique and how to send the energy down and how to hold the stick better. And I started holding it further back, and then I started using heavier sticks, which actually helped me a lot. So anyways, I mean, he like trained me a lot. And then there was the very last show that I played drums for Nicky was at the Roxy in LA. And Eric he was the MD, and he had written this drum intro for me. I mean, he just produced it out. And he sent it to me, and he goes, here you go, learn this. He made it with some plugin that, like, kind of automatically designed something. Like, he placed in some things, and then it wasn't like he, like, typed out the hits. It was just something that he threw in there, and he gave it to me. And he basically said, here's a general thing for you to do.
This is the vibe.
Yeah, and then he goes, just play what you can. And he really meant that. He meant, like, just do what you can for this. Because he thought it was intricate. And I took play what you can as, like, you're not going to be able to play this. And I was like, oh, yeah? And so I spent weeks just looping that intro. And I was like, I'm going to get it exactly. I'm going to play it exactly how this thing is. And I want to surprise him. Basically, what I wanted was for him to be proud. Like, I wanted some sort of validation from him. And so I was like, I'm going to learn it exactly the way he has it. And so we did it, and we played the show, and the intro hit, and I perfectly nailed it. And I did it with so much, like, force, and I hit I did everything he wanted to do. And I looked up at him, and for some reason, it was perfect moment. There was a light in the back. He was in the dead back of the room.
Yeah.
And everyone was kind of dark, but there was just him under this one light in the back of the room, and his arms were crossed. And right after I nailed that intro, I watched him just nod his head and smile at me. And that meant the world to me, because he had never really acknowledged, he had never said good job or anything like that. And when he just gave me this,
what a sensei.
Yeah. And he's Asian.
Yes, half Asian.
He's half Asian. And so that head nod he gave me was, like, literally meant so much to me, and it fueled me for the rest of the set. And literally from that moment on, him and I have been close friends. And he's taken, like, we hang out, We've gone to Costco together. He showed me Costco for the first time.
Yeah, that was a big day for you.
Yeah, it was a big day for me.
So I can buy this many Uncrustables in one spot.
Well, he took me to the food court thing, and I was like, it only costs this much?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I could eat here all the time. I would turn into a big fat blob, but
Yeah.
because it's so greasy, but it's so cheap.
It's very affordable.
So, anyways, I finally got it in that moment, and that was awesome. After that, I got hired to be a drummer for a DJ, which was one of the more strange things I've ever done because I was playing a Roland electronic kit while this guy was DJing. And it was a whole tour. And I really, the artist himself, I really like him. But it was a very strange experience for me. I guess I'll go into this a little bit. But essentially, I showed up to that gig and I learned all of the drum parts. But it's EDM music. So it's essentially, it was just like just disco stuff. So I learned his songs to the T, what they were supposed to be. And then when I got to rehearsal, they're like, you're just playing what's on the tracks. And I'm like, yeah, are you guys going to keep those drums in the tracks? Because I'm using an electronic kit with samples, with the samples in them. And they're like, no, we're going to keep those in the backing tracks. Can you just like add other stuff? And I was like, okay. And then so I'm doing the groove, and then I added fills here and there. And they're like, yeah, more fancy stuff. And so then as a joke, I played an entire song in rehearsal just doing a tom solo. Just going, just doing doubles because the mesh pads are so tight.
Yeah.
I'm doing unrealistic floor tom fills because you can't bounce doubles that fast on a real floor tom. But I'm literally on the floor tom going, and they think it's like the sickest thing they've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I'm like laughing about it, and I'm like jokingly, how was that? And they're like, that was perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, are you serious? And they're like, that's what we want. So that whole tour was just me dicking around, basically playing rock band drums. And just like, dumb, like crash, crash, crash. The rubber cymbals, crash, crash.
Yeah,
crash.
yeah.
And yeah, that was wild. That was a crazy thing. And then Nicky comes back. So Nicky kind of had like a hiatus. You know, he had the rise and fall of that hit song of his, Sunroof. And he had gone into the studio and he wrote this entire new album. And at this point, Nicky knows the truth. Him and I have become really good friends. We actually got even closer not touring with each other because, you know, we met that first time. And then right after that, for 3 years, the only time he ever saw me was when he was paying me.
Yeah.
So it's like we were really close, but I was always his employee. Anyways, he goes into his hiatus. He makes this new album, and now he knows I'm more of a piano player, and I've been playing since I was 4 on the piano, but mainly just blues stuff. And he's like, I wrote this new album. Him and I are so close now because we started hanging out during him making this album. We just started hanging, just as friends. And we got really close. He got a new girlfriend. He wrote this album. It's got piano on it. He's like, dude, I kind of want to like start a new band, but I want to keep you, but I want to put you on your best instrument, which is piano. I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'll play the tambourine if you want. I just need work. And so I'm like, I'd love to play piano. And then I heard his new songs, and I'm like, this is literally the style I grew up playing. It's kind of like saloon blues piano.
Yeah, because I've probably said it in the intro, but I haven't said it in the conversation. You are incredible.
Hello?
Hello. You are an incredible pianist.
Thanks, man.
You know.
When I was 4, my dad forced me to play classical, and I hated it so much because reading music to me was like math, and I hate math.
Yeah.
But then I switched to a teacher who taught me how to play by ear. And so he taught me how to hear something and find it and figure it out. But I learned how to play by ear from Jerry Lee Lewis songs.
Yes.
And then Ray Charles, and then Stevie Wonder a little bit after that. And then I started getting into like pop stuff. Ray Charles is what my dad used to play in the car when he would take me to school. I don't know what that is. I don't know what, it's early 50s, I think, 40s, 50s. He was singing songs and I loved his melodies, and he would do and I'm like, what's a piano? I don't know. It's just what I grew up listening to. That was just normal music for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I was learning Jerry Lee Lewis stuff, I heard him just slamming the top end of the ding 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 ding, and I'm like, what is that? And then I learned it, and I'm like, he's just playing the same thing really hard. and people are going crazy for it. And that's when I realized you can learn some really hard technical stuff, but as far as the performative aspect, people just want to show. And then I saw a video of him doing that, and I'm like, oh, I get why. Visually, this is crazy to look at. Playing with his boot and slamming and standing up, kicking the seat back. He's making a show out of it.
Last night we played DC, and there was actually a few separate people that came up and said that I was fun to watch. And I think I almost take that as, I think I enjoy that compliment more than if someone says, hey, I'm a drummer, dude, you fucking blew me away.
Well, you were talking about that last night and how the way you play the drums live is not how you would play in a studio.
For sure.
Because of how hard you're hitting, for one thing.
Yeah.
But like in a studio, when I watch you play, because for the people listening, me and Ben are facing each other on stage.
Yeah, we're playing in like a semicircle.
Like we get to look at each other as we're playing. And Ben is rocking out. He's got long hair and it's flipping all over the place, driving the girls crazy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I'm watching him play and he's slamming the cymbals and I'm like, I guarantee if he was in a studio tracking for a record, his head would not be moving this much.
Yeah, I mean, I grapple with that. I'd like to think that I wish I could hit the cymbals with as much, maturity as a studio session would require, but be able to feel it the way I do live.
Well, that's the thing is like the people who are watching us play, for the most part, they're not musicians. Yeah. They want to watch you rock out, and what you're doing physically is what they came for. They paid to come see that.
Yeah. And
if you were playing it, like, if you were trying to play exactly like the record, you'd be so boring to watch. You know what I mean? Like, you'd just be, and you'd be so focused, and you would just be hitting the things, and blah, blah, blah. There'd be way less things going on, less fills, less energy, and they're coming for the energy. So, yeah, I mean, like, if I was playing piano for Nicky's record, I mean, that's the solo I have. The piano solo would not be on the record, because if you were just listening to the audio of that,
sure,
it's like, I'm like, okay, so for people listening, I have a piano solo in Nicky's hit song Sunroof.
Yeah, it's a pretty big moment.
People come up to me and their favorite part is when I take my shoe and I play the piano with my shoe, and they go crazy for it.
Your boot, by the way.
With my boot. But if you were just listening to the audio, it sounds so stupid. It's just bling, bling. I'm like, I can't physically hit any notes in the key with a shoe.
Yeah.
My sister texted me and she was like, because my sister's been seeing my Instagram stories, and she's like, hey, when you play with your shoe, it needs to still sound good. It can't sound good. It's a shoe. And honestly, it's just silly and dumb, and it gets them going. Mm-hmm. And like, there is a huge difference in like the live performance thing versus it sounding good.
Well, and the reason I brought it up is because, Nicky was talking about getting back in the studio, and Griffin Goldsmith is the drummer who's actually on Nicky's most recent record. And I acknowledge that Griffin is and will go down as one of the best recording and live, but just session drummers in history. He's so good. And I was like, dude, he understands how to do it in the studio. I think I understand how to do it live. But yeah, I was also talking about how I never leaned into the I'm sent a song from someone I don't know, and then I record the drums and then send it back to them. That part of the music industry has never, ever appealed to me.
Yeah, I've done that with piano, and it sucks. It's just
That's when it feels like a job.
Well, here's what I don't like. You do it, they send you the thing, you record it, you send it to them, and you're like, sweet, yeah, I can't wait to get paid. And then they have 5 rounds of notes, like 5 different, oh, can you do it this way? Okay. And then you do it. Oh, can you do it? By the 5th thing I've sent them, I'm like, I regret doing this now. I don't know you. I don't even like this song that much.
Well, I mean, I know you don't love doing it, but if you do want to do more of it, you can have you get 2 revisions. After that, it's like an extra 25% or whatever.
Well, so I have that. So I also do sound design for video on the side. Completely different than what we've been talking about.
I don't think I knew that.
As like a side job, people will send me For the most part, it's like drone videos. Like someone will have a drone and they'll like shoot like a football game or someone's car racing or like action sequences, and then they'll send it to me. And drones don't have microphones, so I have to create every sound from scratch. So I'll start with the setting. If it's in the desert, I create like maybe a light wind noise in the background, very far spread, and then
How have we never talked about this? This is really cool.
I don't know. I can
Do
show
you enjoy it?
It's actually one of my favorite things to do is sound designing.
Does it pay well?
More than you'd think, or at least for my perspective. It takes me about an hour to do these, and I'll get like $600 for an hour.
I'd say that's good money. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And I actually like it. It's just me in my own world, in my apartment, on my laptop with my speakers and my interface. And I just source, like, for example, one of them was this Porsche car, like, doing donuts in downtown LA. Like, it was like a car guy video.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. And I'm a motorcycle guy, so I can appreciate, like, engines and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, the guy who owns the car probably cares about the car noise, like, it being his car.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, can we get some clips of his actual engine? Oh, no, we can't. And I was like, okay. So I went on YouTube and I found his exact engine with the exact mods he had. And I was like, okay, this is exactly what his Porsche sounds like. And I like, it's a lot of panning. If the car drives by, left to right, right to left, up and down. If the drone does a swirl, we need to make it sound like up and down.
Yeah.
And then once I get all the sound effects in, I'll make some, I'm like, what kind of music? They usually want music in the background. Like, what kind of song do you want? So then I'll just produce some like instrumental. Usually it's like kind of EDM, but sometimes I'll do like a cool hip hop thing. Mm-hmm. But I'll do that on the side, sound design. I really like doing that. I would like to do it on a larger scale, but as of right now, you gotta do what you gotta do to make your rent.
Amen.
And that's the show. If you're listening on a platform that allows ratings and reviews, do that. It helps more people find the show, so it'll get bigger and better, and hopefully I'll have a chance to sell out one day. But you'll be an OG listener that can brag to all your friends. Anyways, why don't you go and check us out at bigfatsnaredrum.com and follow us on all the socials. Just search for Big Fat Snare Drum, and you will find us. The show is edited in part using Isotope RX Audio Editor. It's amazing, so go check that out at isotope.com. And thanks again to Gunnar Olsen for the theme music. Bye!